afternoon, this is news in English from the Syrian Arab television in Damascus. Syrian Arab armed forces have inflicted heavy losses on terrorists in Berzeh, Jobar, Halasta and Douma in Damascus suburbs and destroyed their criminal equipment. In Berzeh, an army unit chased a terrorist group and eliminated its members. Another army unit clashed with a terrorist group near Al-Manashir Square and the sports hall east of Jobar, killing several terrorists and destroying their weapons. Other military units carried out a series of operations near the water establishment, the court and Athanawiya Square in Halasta, destroying a heavy machine gun and killing a number of terrorists. The army also destroyed 15 shops in the industrial area in Douma, which the terrorists used to manufacture explosive devices and mortar shells. The operation also resulted in killing a number of terrorists. In Damascus suburbs, the Syrian Arab army has intercepted an armed terrorist group that tried to attack a military checkpoint in Halasta, eliminating a large number of the members of the group. Another army unit killed and wounded terrorists from Jabhat al-Nusra in Hosh al-Farah Square in Adra. A citizen was injured when an explosive device planted by terrorists in his car blew up in Berniya Street east of Ruknuddin neighborhood in Damascus. The blast wounded the driver and caused material damage to neighboring cars. In Dalla, our armed forces continued their pursuit of terrorist groups in Khirbat Ghazali. The army eliminated large numbers of them. Meanwhile, a truck full of explosive devices placed beneath heaps of hay flew up on Damascus-Dar'a Old Road, killing all the terrorists inside. Also in Homs suburbs, 4 explosive devices were detonated when an armed terrorist group was planting them near Saad Hanoura crossing on Homs Palmyra Road, killing all the members of the group. On the other hand, the army destroyed a warehouse full of explosive devices and killed and injured terrorists in Al-Khalidiyya and Ar-Rastan areas. Also in Homs, army units continue to chase armed terrorist groups and eliminate a number of them in Ghinto and Talbisa areas. Our military units became so close to clear Al-Qsair countryside of Al-Qaeda terrorists. Syrian army units clashed with near Al-Qsair city with armed terrorist groups stationed in As-Salumiyya town and inflicted heavy losses upon them. Moving to Idlib, where our army units inflicted heavy losses upon the armed terrorist groups, killing and injuring a number of their members in Ajanudiyya and Jisr al-Shughur, and dismantled an explosive device with 200 kilograms of weight, which has been put by a terrorist armed group on Ariha Highway in Jisr al-Shughur in Idlib countryside. The device is prepared to remote explode on this crowded highway. In related context, our army units also eliminated dozens of terrorists near Abu Dhur area and destroyed their criminal equipment. In Aleppo, a unit of the armed forces clashed with a terrorist group on the outskirts of Salah ad-Din neighborhood near Shurukh oil station, killing and injuring a number of the attackers. Another unit of the armed forces killed a number of terrorists during a clash in Jubayliyah in Aleppo countryside. The army also destroyed 2 mortars, cannons and heavy machine guns and killed a number of terrorists, including snipers in Al-Musallamiyya area. Another unit of the armed forces destroyed in a qualitative operation a mortar near Al-Fadila school in Bab al-Hadid in Al-Musallamiyya area. Meanwhile, Syrian Arab army has taken control of Beni Zaid neighborhood in the city. American State Department has announced that Secretary of State John Kerry will hold talks on the crisis in Syria and the Iranian nuclear file, as well as the preparations for the Group of 8 summit during his visit to Russia, scheduled on the 7th and 8th of this month. Patrick Fentrell, the State Department spokesperson, assistant, referred to differences between his country and Russia over the crisis in Syria, saying the American State Department's stand towards the crisis has not changed, without admitting the responsibility of his country's policies of instigation and support for the armed terrorist groups in igniting the violence in Syria and causing it to continue. The General Command of the Palestinian Liberation Army asserted that the approval of the Qatari Foreign Minister and the Arab League Secretary General on modifying the peace initiative by exchanging the land and keeping the settlements in the West Bank, including occupied Jerusalem, under the control of Israel and its occupation is a reminder of Balfour Declaration. The Palestinian factions had announced their adherence to all the Palestinian rights and rejection of any American-sponsored scheme to liquidate the Palestinian cause. In a related context and following the new attitudes by the Arab League on further liquidating the Palestinian cause, gangs of settlers under the protection of Israeli occupation troops started the construction of a new settlement unit in the city of Nablus in the West Bank. A news source told Palestinian news agency that settlers had actually begun to set up makeshift homes, providing them with electric lines in the village of Bita, south of the city of Nablus. The source stressed that the land confiscated is owned by Palestinian citizens. Iranian President Mahmoud Ahmadinejad affirmed that the Iranian people's choice is to confront those who want to stop their movement toward peaceful nuclear technology, stressing that dialogue and wisdom does not mean giving up. During his visit to one of the Iranian cities, Nejad also said that some people thought that giving up will make the situation better, pointing out that results of giving up against the hegemonic powers and defeat and humiliation, according to Nejad. Meanwhile, Nejad highlighted that while the enemies are talking about powers and arms, the Iranian people are providing a culture of love and respect, affirming that this culture is very sublime and it would prevail in the entire world in the near future. He also underlined naming the current year by the political and economic epic, clarifying that the epic means taking important decisions and procedures for the benefit of the people. With this we come to the end of our news for today. Stay with us after the break. Our latest developments in economy and finance with Khaled Saqabani. Also, more details on our website www.syriaonline.sy. Thank you for watching.
The Minister of Economy has asserted that the achievements of the committee has granted the exportations every week. For all the ministers under the decree number 126 to provide the citizens with the necessary needs. The minister also pointed out that the committee gave the Transportation Ministry a lot of the facilitations regarding the aircraft purchases, in addition to many of the exemptions. On the other hand, the ministry also granted facilitations to the importation of the spare parts for the aircraft. The General Organization for Engineering Industries and the Ministry of Industry are calling for amending the laws and the regulations in force. These laws are governing the work in accordance with the Companies Act and the laws of the trade and the industrial codes. As for the old age workers who cannot carry out the organization's requirements and finding the appropriate solution for them in coordination with the workers' union, they also can be replaced by young workers. The real estate bank has announced that the ATMs are in service in all of the branches in Damascus during the holiday. Moreover, the banks also set up 3 ATMs yesterday in Damascus. They are distributed in the Justice Palace, Dar al-Assad for Culture and Arts, and the Ministry of Higher Education. The Agricultural Directorate in El Suwaida has hired 1,500 employees under the temporary contracts. The Directorate's manager affirmed that the target is to fulfill the Directorate's needs and to provide job opportunities, declaring that hiring was based on the applications submitted to the Directorate. He also pointed out that the Directorate is working on providing the temporary job opportunities according to the hire needs, and also hiring 4,000 employees that have been hired last year. The American spot crude traded near the lowest level in more than a week after the government data showed that the U.S. stockpiles climbed to the highest point in 82 years. Futures, on the other hand, were little changed. The U.S. stocks fell on the slower growth as the American payrolls and the manufacturing, while most of the European stocks have declined. Japanese shares also fell, heading for the first back-to-back decline in 2 weeks. Gold fell, extending the biggest drop in 2 weeks as the investors reduced the holdings in the bullion-backed exchange trade and the products amid concerns that the Federal Reserve may put more stimulus programs. The euro weakened against the dollar and a snapping for the 4-day gain against the speculation that the European Central Bank may increase the rates and the accord of the low of a 0.5% at the meeting today. With this, ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the end of our news bulletin for today. Thank you for joining us.